Hi, I'm so glad you dropped by. I hope you've had a really great week and ready to just relax for a few minutes and learn some creative cards and be inspired. My name is Lynda Phippen and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Ontario, Canada. And I hope that this evening just inspires you because I had a lot of fun making these cards. So let's get started. The stamp set that I was playing with this week is called Blossoms in Bloom. And of course, we're into spring and the little shoots are starting to show up. So it's very, very exciting. It's my favorite time of the year. And this stamp set was a lot of fun to work with. It has two amazing dies that go on top of each other. And I'm going to show you how they work. And the stamps are delightful as well. So here's our, and this stamp set is found in our catalog on page 51. So there it is, page 51, and some sample cards that they include as well. So let's get rolling. The first card is saying hello there. Now the sentiment itself does not come from this particular set. It comes from here's a card set, just because I just wanted to, let me see, where is it? Here's a card. Oh, hello there. And so that's where I got that particular sentiment. And this is the card. So let's get started here, which I've said already. I'm going to get the Stamparatus and I'm going to the first thing we have to do is to stamp. Now this card is a fun fold and it's very easy to do. And what I did was I scored it at, let me see, where's my exact measurements here. I scored it at 2 1/8. So you just put it in here, measure at 2 1/8, and make sure you do not use your cutting blade. And I scored it on both sides. So both sides are 2 1/4. The next thing we need to do is the front cover of the card. So you want to get your stamp, and this is a nice large stamp. So you want to place it on the front of the white piece, exactly where you want it. And I am using Gorgeous Grape. Now I discovered that when you're using your Stamparatus, that in order to get your ink on, if you put another stamp underneath it, right there, it levels it out. So I think I'm just a little bit too close here. There we go. Okay, so we're going to stamp or ink up for our cover, which is moved on me. And last time I showed you having this little, it's for cake decorating, and it cost me $4 at Walmart. And it's just nice to kind of give it a smooth pressure. So I'm just going to do that a second time because I didn't get enough ink on there. Okay, and there's our cover, our front panel. So we don't need this just yet. So after you do your the first stamp, the front stamp, there are a number of little other stamps that kind of fill in for us. So this one is Crumb Cake, and I'm going to put in the middle part of the flower. I think like the little, I'm sure there's an official name for it. So that is quick and easy. And then I am going to put a little bit of yellow in there because often the center of a flower is yellow. So this color is not called yellow, of course. It is Daffodil Delight. So if you just get that in the middle, it's going to add a little color to our flower. Okay. Now these, when you line them up, don't have to be exact. And then I have Old Olive, which is my favorite green, just to add a few flowers. Okay, so let's get one in here, one in here, one in here. You can put on, of course, as many as you want. And then the last stamping that we're going to do is with the Highland Heather, and it's these tiny little flowers that I just kind of filled in, and I put them both on the same stamp. And you can kind of set them up so there's four at each placement if you wish. I think you call that being lazy, and I will admit to that. And then just a few around. Now after you do all of that work, we are going to cut it in half, which is always scary. So this is 4 inches. I'll turn it around. It's 4 inches. So we're just going to cut it at 2, right in half. There's no going back after you cut it. So we're really hoping we got it the same, which I know we did. Yeah. Okay. So because it's definitely a fun fold, these will go on each side. So and I put them right on the edge so that you have a nice border all the way around. So let's glue that on next. The only thing, you just want to make sure that your pattern or your stamp is going to match up. And it does, of course. Of course. As if there would be never any mistake. So here we go. And I'm going to double check it again to make sure that I've got it just where we want it. It's not exactly where I want it. But the nice thing about glue is that you can reposition if you do it quick enough. Okay, so I went ahead and did the sentiment. And I put a little bit of gold oval from our oval set, which it's not really ovals, it's called stitched, and there are squares, ovals, and circles, and I used this one here because I wanted it just a little bit bigger than I want it smaller because it's this one here that has a stitch. The two pieces of oval are from the punch, which is nice when you punch them out, of course. So let's glue this together. So the gold goes on the Highland Heather, and the hello there, I already put the dimensions on. Okay, I used this really pretty gold thread, and all you do is wrap it around your fingers 3 times. And I want to put it on the back of this here. So you put the circles on, and then you can reposition them. If they cooperate. And of course the end is frayed and we don't want that sticking out. Little haircut. Okay. So now you want to make sure that your adhesive is only halfway, because this is going to go on here. And I do remember I added some glue dots because I did not trust this staying on. So let's just put some glue dots, and then we can convince it to move for us. So just a couple of glue dots for extra adhesive. And centered the best you can. Then we're going to put my sentiment on, and that one you can put right across. Okay, and then on the inside we have a just white, and we're just going to stamp a few of the flowers. And you can do it this way if you want the larger flowers, and just kind of determine where you want it. And get our stamp pad. So just to get a couple of flowers in there. And that's not very helpful right now. Okay, we're going to try that again because that didn't work out very well. Or maybe we'll put it along the side. How about that? And that's the inside of our card. Mistake on the back, but nobody will ever see it unless they pull your card apart. And I'm sure they wouldn't do that. So there, we have card number 1. Okay, for our next card, is using the dies for this card. And I used the colors, which you don't often, I don't know, like I was having a hard time putting the colors together, but I'm using Brushing Bride and gray granite, and of course the outline is black, and I think it's really stunning. So I was very pleased when it came together so nicely. So let's get our pieces together. And I even glued it together so you didn't have to. And I'll show you in the next card how I put them together. So this one is going to be a nice quick card. and a top fold as well. So I put the die cut on here on the first layer, and it's okay if it goes over the paper because you have another 2 layers to go. So there's a lot of finicky gluing on this, but it's easier to do the gluing on the back than it was on the front. And I'll show you on the next card how I use the 2 double-sided adhesive sheets that we have, just because it is so finicky. So I hope you like that combination. I thought it turned out very nice. I'm very happy with it. And the black just sets it off lovely. So then we'll put another layer of Blushing Bride. On there. And then going back to this really pretty ribbon that's sheer, but it has silver sparkles in it. It's very pretty. And I put this down just a little bit lower, like not exactly in the middle. Now you want to make sure that you get this straight. It's always the hope. Almost straight. There we go. Now we can just glue this onto the card base, and I made this a top fold card. And I put the oh, isn't that awful when you forget things? The dimensions on the back already. Oh my goodness. Do you find the older that you get that sometimes you know what you want to say, but it just does not come out? And then in the middle of the night or some other inappropriate time, oh yes. So this is just a hello card, but you know, on the inside you could still put happy birthday. So not quite finished because on the inside I put a layer of Blushing Bride. You know what I forgot to do on this one? Okay, so I have a piece talking about being forgetful, and put that behind the black, but you know, it looks okay on its own. It can hold its own. Just a little different look. And the piece is right here. It's not like I didn't have it. See, right there. And then they, in this set comes, oops, a few little dies. I think there's just, let me see how many dies there are. 4 dies. So a front and a back for each one of, for 2 different flowers. So I went ahead and cut them randomly in black and Blushing Bride. And I did the same thing as I did for the next card. Is you cut it in half in your, and I'll just show you just for a different look. Look at that. Looks like it's just growing off out of the page, off the side of the page. And you get twice as many things that you can put in your card. So I only put, well, it looks like 3, but it's only, of course, 2. You can put as many as you want. But I didn't put any black on there, so that's fine. So there we go. Our card number 2. That's not quite done because I did put some rhinestones, diamond looking, that really sets it off, and it complements the silver that's in the ribbon. So there's 2 sizes. So I put 2 large ones and 3 small ones. Where should we put the other small one? Stick everywhere but the paper. Oh, it's still on my fingernail. Oh my goodness. There we go. Not really. Okay, you didn't get to see all of that. I was entertaining myself there. All right, card number 2. With or without the pink background. Actually, you can't really notice too much of a difference, but we use that on another card another day. Okay, so our third card, again, is using the dies, and I wanted to make it kind of almost like a monochromatic, but I cut the die in half, and I only used white rhinestones on here and just a few flowers, again the same color, even the leaves. So this card is made with Bermuda, Bay, and Coral Cabana. I don't know if you've ever put those 2 colors together, but they're quite pretty for sure, I thought. So when you're cutting, especially this top layer, which is the thinner one, this is the die, it comes out quite thin, and it's tricky to keep the glue on the pieces. So this is what it looks like when you cut it out. So you can see how thin that is. So I used the double-sided adhesive, and I'll just show you how that works. It comes in a package like this, and it's adhesive sheets, and they are double-sided. So I'm just going to show you quickly how easily it is to put on, because the pieces are already cut in 3s. So it makes it easy so you don't get tangled up and choke yourself with it. So there you go. You've got the first piece on. You pull the other piece off, stick it on there, and the third piece. And then I put the die, where should I put it back? The die on this side, and when you put it through your machine, all these pieces come off, and then you have the white backing, and you just pull it off. So I've already pulled it off on this one, so it's sticky on this side. So you're just avoiding all of the glue mess. This one is easy to put glue on, like I mentioned in the other card, because it's a lot thicker, at least the way I glue. So here we go. You just line it up. See how nicely that goes together, and your fingers are not all full of glue. And there it is. So let's see if I can remember all the pieces this time. Oh, I guess I'll have to make another card. I have 2 of these, which is just fine because it's quite a pretty card. So what I did was cut it in half. Now you do all that work. Nobody really wants to cut their pretty dies in half, but trust me, it's okay. Now, actually, I'm not going to use that cutter because I don't want it to get caught. So I have this little guillotine one, and it doesn't matter where you cut it. You just get it in there and cut it in half. Oops, sorry about the noise. So when you put it on your card, this is one of those simple but really quite elegant. So don't need that on there. So I could have cut it on an angle, which I did more of an angle on this one, but that's okay. So we just need to glue these pieces on. And now you've got a nice surface to be gluing them on. Oops, don't put it on upside down. Now when I put it on a slant on this other card, I had to trim it a little bit. This time I'm not going to have to trim it, but my sentiment is not going to be on an angle. You think after you do a couple of samples that you would remember how everything went. But again, as I mentioned earlier, I have great intentions. So I made this a happy birthday card. And if it would have been on an angle, it would have been a little easier to put this on, but that's okay. So it does hang over, so all I did was just cut off. I prefer to cut off extra than wish I had more, because you know that never works. The inside of the card, I just did one layer. Oh, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp it first, because when I did it the last time, it went on the frame, and I don't want to put it on the frame. So this is the Bermuda Bay, and everything is going to be the same. So I have the 2 blossoms, and I put them on each side of the stamp, just so that I could cut down blocks. So there's no right or wrong way of doing this. And you can stamp off too, which is nice. Flip it over, put the other one on. And then I even put some leaves on, and I did that in the same color as well. So you can stick those leaves anywhere you want. You could even put a few leaves on the very top corner as well. So that's the inside of the card. Oh goodness, make a lot of noise. And then I just put that on the inside. And that is card number 3. Oh, I have to put a few gems on it though. So the inside of the card, and I just put gems from the Elegant Gems. And I just used the white. There's white clear and gold in this particular package. And there we are. The 3 cards that we did tonight. So I hope you enjoyed and you were inspired. That you can make these cards. The stamp set is lovely. I enjoyed making it. And you have the option of stamping the flowers or using the dies. And it just a very pretty stamp set, and I enjoyed doing that. So I hope you enjoyed it as well. And if you don't have a demonstrator, please feel free to send me an email. Take a look at my YouTube, Facebook channels. And if you enjoy and are inspired, please leave me a comment. And feel free to subscribe so you don't miss any of my creative ideas. Anyway, have a great week, and I will see you next week. And the weeks do go by quickly, so be safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.